So if you need a little bit of time to write that down, I'll give you a couple minutes here. Some people like to draw it, some people don't. Okay. These are lines, rays, kind of all meeting at different intersection points, you know, vertices, if you will. They kind of have them labeled. They even have a few numbers in there. That's kind of nice. So I'll give you a little bit of time here. Take your writing. Okay. All right. So, on this particular problem, the types of questions they're going to be asking, or the things that I would ask you for, like a test or a homework assignment, would be to give me like the name of the vertex for a certain angle. So, like for instance, I'd like you to name the vertex for angle 3. What's the vertex at angle 3?
X.
Yeah, point X.
Point X.
But you're right, point X. So that's what I'm looking for. If you got to name a vertex, it's a single dot. Make sense? Like a single point. That was good. Now, it's easier if they did something like this. So name the vertex instead of, you know, for angle 3, they said angle WXU. Those are a lot easier, because if they give you an angle with 3 letters, where should the vertex be? The middle one, so it's still point X. So it's easier if they give you the 3 letter system. Probably more or less, if I were to ask you that type of question, I'd probably give you the numbers. Okay, but again, if they ask you the 3 letter system for an angle, the middle letter is always the vertex. In fact, WXU is the same angle, it's angle number 3. WXU, that's still this angle right here. Okay. That's why it was the X. All right. So that was one of the parts that, you know, it's just nice to kind of remind you of how to name things. Remember, if you have to name points or a vertex, you have to write the word point and then the letter. A lot of people miss that in the first assignment. Okay, next, name the sides for or of angle 2. Name the sides of angle 2. Now, what it means by sides, I want the rays for angle number 2. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do it, but angle 2, does somebody think they have one of them, one of the sides? Molly, what do you get?
Y.
That, you got? Okay, Y, there's nope, I want the sides, not the vertex. You'd be right, if it was vertex, boom, you'd have been right, it'd been point Y. Okay, but I want the sides. Yeah, sides. Can you give me one? UI is one of them. UI, that's one of the walls. Now, when you said UI, it has to be like this. The arrow, okay? Next one?
XY.
XY. Now let's discuss. This is the part that most people look and go, what? I don't understand what you just did there. Angle number 2, right? Angle number 2. This is the angle number 2. It's X, Y, U. That's what makes angle number 2. X to Y to U. Right? There's angle number 2. My trick is if you can write down the name of the angle, X, Y, U. If you can write down the name, the actual rays are the first 2 letters and the back 2 letters, and the arrow always goes away from the middle. So if you could look at the name and write down the 2 sets of letters and just have the arrows facing away from the middle, this is how you get to your answer. Does that make sense? Like, that's probably the way that I would do it. Okay? But if I had the name vertex, I was right. Point Y. That was a good way to say it. If I needed the vertex. If they say sides, they want the rays, the actual walls. All right. Questions on that one? That one's probably the one that I would expect most people to have troubles with, because unless you know the naming system, how you can name the 2 like sets and have the arrows go away from it. Okay, any questions on the first 2 types of problems that I'd probably ask you for? Okay, seems somewhat comfortable. All right. Next, I want another name for angle number 1. I want a new name. So new name for angle number 1. George, what do you got?
YXU.
YXU. Angle YXU. I agree with that. That's good. So let me put that wide X to U. That's angle number 1. That's good. Now, Bree, say it again. Okay. All right. Like angle X. Now let's talk about this. Okay? Because that's the way the book said you can do it. You can do a single letter. Here's the problem that I have. Okay? And it's not anything wrong. You did exactly what the book would say. If you said angle X, so let's go up here. So angle X, I don't know which one it is. Like angle X could be that one. It could be this little piece. It could be this one. It could be this piece. It could be any of them. That's the problem that I have. So when the picture gets complicated, when there's more than one angle off of like point X, I want you to try to avoid doing that one. Try to do the 3-letter system. But that's good. Like the book would say to do that. I just don't know which angle you're talking about. So you can't use that for my test or homework. So if it's complex, I consider that complex. There's literally 4 angles coming off that thing, or more if you combine them. Okay? Got another one?
UXY.
UXY. Good. That would be the other one. This one I would actually accept just because you're writing the 3-letter system, and you can just switch letters. The middle letter has to be the X still. So that's angle number 1. So UX to Y. How I always think of this, if you're looking to try to name an angle, just what I would do, like if I was looking at the homework, draw the walls that make your angle, and then just use the letters that are on that wall. Okay? Now, there's actually another name you could call it. Got another?
Angle 1.
Angle 1, yep. You can call it angle 1, okay? But they want another name. There's another one. There's another one. Got one?
I thought I had it, and I don't know.
Another one? George, you think you got one?
X1.
Nope, nope, not X1. No.
XU.
No, it's got to have 3 letters if you're going to go with the letter system. Okay, so we think we got it?
I want to say X3W.
No. You can't use the numbers. If you're going to use the letters, you got to use strictly letters. All right, Hassel, what do you got?
I want to say UXYZ.
Okay, close. In fact, if you would have just got rid of one of your letters, you would have been correct. So, he said UX, and then he said YZ, but just go UXZ. Drop the Y out. We already used Y. You used the 3-letter system. X had to be in the middle, because that's where angle 1 is sitting, right? Angle 1 is sitting at X, point X. But if you're going to use the 3-letter system, Z is still on that line. So if you go that system where you draw a wall, that's U and X. X and Z would also work. So that would be other than that, you can switch those around. Okay, that's clever. So a lot of people would not see that. They'd always go with the first 2 letters that they see. So you can go down the road. This is still the same answer. These are all the same except for I know the book says this. I just don't. I have to avoid that. So, but yeah, get comfortable with that. You can use points down the road and it's still the same angle. Z, X, U. Okay, we'll practice more of these. All right, let's go to the next picture. Next picture here. It's nice to see these. You can get comfortable with these. Let's see. Okay. Erase my drawing. What am I doing? Alright. Okay, so new picture. No numbers now. No number system at all. So, we have a bunch of letters here. Now, this is where it gets a little more tricky now. Okay, before they said, okay, name a vertex, or name some sides, or give me another name for an angle, fine and dandy. Now they're going to get more specific. Now they're going to ask for, they want you to name an acute angle. Name any acute angle, okay? So Kylie, what do you got?
EFD.
Say it again.
EFD.
EFD, perfect, angle EFD. Okay, another one. We already got.
Angle CFD.
CFB, is that what you said, or CFD?
CFD.
TFD. Okay, I agree with that. TFD. Another one we got, George.
AFB.
AFB. Got any others? Oh. Okay, I agree. Those are the three. Okay. AFB is that one. This is AFB. That's CFD and EFD. Okay, those are the three. Now, why wasn't there another one? What's that fourth angle there? What type is that? It's a right angle. That's a 90 degree. It's not acute. It's a right angle, or it's perpendicular, or orthogonal, whatever you want to call it. If it's a right angle, fine and dandy. You still write it the same way. So if they wanted a right angle, then yeah, then they wanted a right angle. Like name one right angle. Name an angle that's, you know, that's 90 degrees. Fine. That's angle CFB or BFC. I don't care how you write it. That's a right angle. Now, fine and dandy. Question.
Why can't you do EFC?
EFC. Just depends if that's more than 90. So I would always say, like, if you want to name an acute, more or less, try to guarantee that it is. Like for me, yeah, it kind of looks like it's acute. Like if I were to measure it, it probably is. But to guarantee it, just pick the small ones. Like they ask for one, don't like, because that could be close. I can explain why it's not, why it is acute. But if it's anywhere close, like you don't know, because it kind of looks like it's 90, kind of does. If it's remotely close, don't list it. Just list, you know, ones that are obvious like these three. But I agree with you. Like you can mix some together. If you didn't hear, he said EFC. EFC is acute, but if it does, like if you can't tell, EFC is the big one. It's where you're mixing these two together. That's the big one, EFC. If you can't tell, like don't put it. I agree. It is acute though. All right, now. What if I ask for obtuse? Obtuse. All right, Alex, what do you got?
AFD.
Say it again.
AFD.
AFD? Yeah, I agree. AFD, it's big. AFD, it's a really big angle. Really big. Okay? Bree, what do you got?
AFB.
AFB?
E.
Or AFE? Oh, geez, you're going like huge. AFE, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, this one, it's almost straight. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is straight, okay? If it's just a hair less than straight, it could be obtuse. We'd have to look in the instructions. So I would agree, like if we don't know, yeah. I mean, that most definitely could be an obtuse. What if they said, let's talk about this definition. This is actually going to go into a word I was going to wait till later, but it looks like you guys are kind of ready for it. What if they said, raise AF and FE are opposite rays? What if they said those are opposite rays? Does anyone know what that means? George, what does that mean?
They're straight.
They're
like,
straight.
line of its own line.
Yeah. So if they said this in the instruction that AF and EF were straight, that means that that is a straight angle. They're opposites. It's 180 degrees. So then going back to what Bree said earlier, now it's without a doubt her option AFE would not work. Now for me, I didn't have any instructions, so it could work. Could have been like 170, 160. But now that we know this, we couldn't list the one that Bree said earlier, AFE, because now that's 180, that's not obtuse. But you can pick other ones like BFE instead. So if they say this instruction, opposite rays, that means they're 180 degrees. A to FE, 180. That's a straight angle. So good things to know, right? But if I was in that same situation with Bree, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's probably obtuse. Unless they said it was straight. All right, questions on this problem? Okay, now these are all, to me, they're all kind of simple. They're all kind of straightforward. You can kind of pick pieces, lots of different options, lots of answers, because obviously you guys were still going. Tons of hands were still up. Okay, same thing. Now, we get to the monster. This is one I saw in your book, and it was too cool. We had to just bring it up. Things are everywhere on this problem. It is a train wreck of lines. And the question is, you know, give another name for an angle, or name a vertex, or name sides of this angle. It's all the same stuff. They mix them all into one. Name an obtuse angle. Name two angles that are straight or collinear with each other. 3 points that are collinear. Like, they're going to review a lot of stuff. 3 points that are collinear, that are in a straight line with each other, would be like S, R, and P, or Q. S, R, Q. Those points, S, R, and Q. Or those are collinears. If they wanted a straight line, you could say angle SRQ. It's a straight line. Right? It's a huge angle. If they wanted an acute angle, that could be angle number 2. It's definitely acute. It's small. On this picture, is there any 90-degree angles like named in there? No. A lot of you are shaking your head no. The reason why we don't know if there's any 90s. There's no little like box in the corner. We have no idea if there's 90s. So just be kind of careful of that. There's other terms we're going to get to, but like this problem when I saw it, I had to show you it. Like, this is a monstrosity where there's just so many things going on. We're going to use this picture. I think they actually use the same picture in like multiple sections because we start building vocab terms that are involved in this. Okay. All right, questions, comments about the problem or the types of questions they ask. You know, the acute, right, name a vertex, name sides. All right, perfect. What we have to talk about today, we have to do a couple of constructions. We have to do some drawing. You can put pretty much everything away except for a pencil, and you might want your protractor. So if you don't have that, maybe you just want to borrow from your neighbor right now. I'm going to hand you some blank white paper. So, printer paper, A4 paper. Traditional paper. Alright, put your name on it. Put your name on it somewhere in the corner. That's going to be your, our constructions here today. I don't know how I feels like I give you 3. In fact, I think there's 2 there. Alright, first thing we're going to do, draw a line segment on your paper with your, oh jeez, sorry Alex, just ignoring you, don't worry about it, buddy. Okay. Take your protractor, draw a segment on your paper. A segment, not a line, but a segment. Put it on your paper. It can be in the middle, it can be somewhere. Just put a segment somewhere on your paper. Do that right now. Use that protractor, use that as a straight edge. I'm going around, I'm going to try to hand out compasses. These will have straight edges in them, so if you're missing lead, just let me know. I won't forget it this time. I swear, I won't. Alright. Everyone get one? Alright. Everyone's got one. Now remember, when you open up your compass, you actually have to use a little cog, the gear in the middle. That's how you open and close it. If you're missing lead, let me know. I can give you a new one. I have plenty of them. So, alright. We're going to copy that segment to a new location. So this is the first construction we did the other day. It was construction number 1. We're going to copy a segment. Now, you don't have a ruler, so you can't just measure on a ruler and just like, oh, it's 4 inches long and move it over. Nope. So, what you have to do to copy a segment, so you should have that somewhere in your paper. Let me get rid of my overhead. Alright, so what you have to do, so you have your line segment somewhere on your paper. Boom, here it is. Let's call this A and B. You can label it. We're going to copy it somewhere else. So, what you need to do, somewhere else on your paper, take your straight edge. Now you have an actual straight edge in your hand. Draw a new segment somewhere else in your paper. It has to be longer than AB. So Draw a segment that's somewhere else on the paper. It's longer than the one we're about to copy. Okay. There's AB. I'm going to copy it somewhere else. I'm going to go down, make a new line, C to D. It's got to be longer. That looks good. All right. Let's call this C. D is down the road. I don't care about where it's at right now. Okay. Do you agree it's clearly longer? Now that you have this new line, go back to your original line, AB, take your compass, and we're going to measure how large that line segment is. I know a lot of you are already doing it. You're already figuring out how big it is. Again, you just open up the compass, use a little gear in the middle, open it up so you can touch the beginning and the end of that segment. Once you have the length perfectly established, pick up your compass. Don't change it. Just, I measured A to B with my compass. I'm going to pick it up, go to my new line, make my mark. There it is. Easy peasy. Once you have that new line marked, you can mark that point. Let's call this point P. Point P, you can scribble out all the excess. We never erase anything in here. We just scribble it out. Never erase. It's just a waste of your eraser. Because I like to see the extra lines. So you show me that you're doing everything right. You're drawing a line longer. You're getting rid of the extras. Okay, what you just did there, you just copied a segment. If you need help, don't be afraid to ever ask, especially if you missed a step. Because the next couple steps we're about to do are a lot harder than what we just did. Okay, we're good? So we need help? Okay, all right. Take your compass now. We're going to learn the second construction now. This one, I'd like you to go back up to line AB. Now, if AB is in a bad spot for you, what I mean by bad spot, you don't have room above it or below it, go draw a new line somewhere else. It doesn't matter the length of it. Just go draw another segment somewhere else. But I need room above or below segment AB. Hopefully you have it. I know a lot of you used a lot of space, which is good. It's a good thing. Take your compass. Go back to AB. You need to open up the compass so you're past halfway. You're past halfway. What do you mean by halfway when you open up your compass? This is random, right? I don't even care how big you open it. As long as it's past halfway. Halfway to me looks like it's about right there. Does that look about halfway to you? Okay. We're going to open up the compass past the halfway mark. It doesn't have to go all the way to the end, just past halfway. That looks good. And what you're going to do, this is where some plans differ in shop class, drafting versus for me. So you open up your compass past halfway, you're going to make a mark above and below. Now where you're going to make this arc above and below, I'm leaving my point, the little pike, right on the letter A, and I'm making my mark above and below. All I need to make sure is when I make those two marks, it's above the middle, where you think the middle is. Now in drafting, they teach a little bit differently. In drafting, they just go, never pick up your compass, draw this big looping arc. You don't need it. But they want you to make an arc above and below. So, make sense? Okay, once you have that, don't change your compass. Leave the compass alone. Hopefully you didn't mess with the compass at all. You're gonna flip the compass over and go from the other point, because I went from A, right? Now I'm gonna go from B and do the same thing. Make my arc above, make my arc below, and I didn't even change my compass. I left my compass the exact same from what I did earlier. So it's still the same setting, I just marked above and below where I think the middle is. What should happen if you do yours right, it should make 2 X's on your paper. X's mark the spots. If it didn't make X's, probably what happened, you just didn't draw your lines far enough, your arcs. So just go back and finish drawing the arcs so that eventually they should cross. And this should always happen. As long as you open up your compass past the halfway point, this should be guaranteed to happen. Question?
I don't have any more lead.
Okay, it happens. Let me get a new compass. I'll just take it over in there. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Boom. All right. Hold it down. Let's do it. Okay. Is that it? Good. All right. Now, all you need to do, draw a line that connects the 2 X's. So take your straight edge, draw a line that goes right through the two X's with the straight edge. Do the best you can. This is the part that gets a little challenging. Straight edges slide around, they move, paper slides, you try and draw that line the best you can. Alright. Draw the line. Now, what should happen if you did this correctly? It should hit the perfect middle. It should hit the middle. Or where you thought was the middle. It should hit it. That is actually the perfect center. So what you actually just did is you just drew a perfect bisector. The line that you just drew, that black line or whatever line you have drawn going right down through, is actually bisector. It just took AB and split it. In fact, point M is the midpoint. Point M is the midpoint. That's what happened when you did this. That's kind of cool. You can actually split something in half. But what's even better, the angle that's right here. This angle, what does it look like to you?
L.
Yeah, it's a perfect L. In fact, if you put your protractor on your paper, it's a 90-degree angle exactly. And as long as you did your constructions correctly, it is a perfect right angle. Now, there is a little wiggle room for error. The compass slides around, your paper slides, but it should be almost perfect if you followed your steps and you're holding through. It is an actual right angle. So in fact, instead of just making a bisector, you actually made what they call the perpendicular bisector. It's not only cutting AB in half, it's actually making a perfect right angle. This is the construction we do to make right angles for architecture. So if you're making a blueprint for something in drafting, or you're making like a diagram, or you're trying to make a drawing that's like a box on a paper, you could just use a compass and it makes a perfect right angle every single time. Now we're going to learn more of these. There's more ways to draw right angles than just this one, but this is kind of an easy one. Open it past halfway, you can draw, and boom, there it is. Okay, questions at all about how we did that construction? Okay, so I warned you, right? We were going to learn constructions on how to draw angles without the protractor. You didn't use the protractor until the end just to measure it. It actually works. Okay. Go find a new spot in your paper. Maybe you need to go to the back. I don't know how much room you have. Go find a new spot. You don't need a protractor right now. Keep it off to the side. Take your straight edge, draw an acute angle on your paper. Now, what I mean by acute, it's gotta be less than 90. Draw so the rays are kind of long. So draw it so the rays are kind of long. But we're gonna draw an acute angle. Okay, let's label our angle. Let's call it E, F, and G. F is the vertex. E, F, and G. Or F is the vertex. Okay, it's gotta be acute. In fact, actually, you know what? Go measure it. Now take your protractor, go measure it. Let's figure out how big this is. In fact, I'm gonna use mine. I'm gonna measure mine too. I wanna know how big my angle is. It's gotta be less than 90. Remember, you're counting out. So line up the dot, line up that first line, going across, count out to 0. We're using the inner track. Hopefully everyone drew their angle the same way, to the right, standard position. 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, mine's 54. 54 degrees. Okay. Hopefully you did yours in standard position. You drew it horizontal to you. It went up. Everyone should be drawing the same type of angle. Maybe it doesn't look exactly like mine, but okay. Mark your angle on the inside of it. Mark how big it is. So if it was like 30 degrees or 50, whatever it is, 60, I don't know how big it is. Maybe it was almost 90 for all I know. So. Yeah, you can do it. No, it's really tiny. Okay, it'll work. It'll work. The process will still work. It'll be tough. I almost recommend you do something a little bit bigger. All right, we'll see. I'll see why here in a minute. All right, everyone's got their numbers?
13.
13, okay. That's 13, small. What was yours, 2?
8.5.
8.5, all right. All right, now, what you need to find off to the side of your paper, what would half of your angle be as a number? You already know your number, right? Maybe your angle is 20. Mine's 54. What would half of that be? Think about the number. Like for mine, since I have 54, half of my angle is about 27. It's 27 degrees, about half of it. Find that off to the side, write it down. If it's 8.5, maybe it's 4 1/4. Maybe it's 13, so now you're looking at like 6.5. Maybe you had like 36, now you're looking at 18. You know, whatever your angle is, find about half of it, whatever that is. I want that number written down. And if you need to, go grab a calculator. Maybe you just need to divide your number by 2. I don't know. You're not going to offend me. You want to find it exactly, it's good. Don't be afraid to do that. Let's get a right answer. Write it down. Okay. There's what, 55? What your angle? Close. It's pretty close. Huh? Okay, what we're gonna do, the reason why we did this, we're gonna cut our angle in half without the protractor, which is weird. I'm not gonna allow you to measure it, figure out where the halfway point is, and then draw a line. No. We're gonna do it with the compass in front of you. So pick up your compass. This is crazy how this works. We're gonna cut your angle in half. This is where I said if it's bigger, it's better. So we'll see if this works, okay? All right, take your compass. You can open up to any size you want. That's the cool part, all right? I'm gonna open up my compass. What you're gonna do, put the little pike on your vertex. Boom, put the pike on the vertex. And again, it doesn't matter the size. Once you've established your size, you won't have to ever change the compass again, which is kind of cool. So mine's gonna stay like this the rest of the time today. What you're gonna do, so the pike's on letter F, your vertex, draw an arc so it hits both walls. Like that. And hit both walls. It's gotta hit both. It doesn't have to go through E or G at all. It doesn't have to. I'm hitting 2 walls. You can see mine right now. So you're gonna draw in any arc you want. It's gotta hit both walls. Bigger the better. Now that you have that, without changing my compass, because I said I'm leaving my compass alone the whole entire time. I'm never gonna change this again. What you're gonna do is, now that I have my compass set and I've drawn that arc, you're gonna put the compass on one of these 2 spots. The spots that you just had drawn, one of these 2 locations. So I'm gonna put mine on the bottom one, it doesn't really matter. So these are the points of intersection where that arc crossed. Put your pike right there, right where that point is. One of them, I don't care, bottom, top one. Put your pike right there. You're gonna make a little mark out in the middle of your angle, like a little arc. Again, I'm going from this spot where I just crossed. You're putting that little pike right there, and you're making a mark out in the middle. It's gotta be in the middle of your angle, kind of figure out where the interior is in the middle. Now that you have that, we're not changing the compass, we're leaving the compass alone. Compass will always stay the same. You're gonna go from the other point that you had circled or drawn. And you're gonna do the same thing. What should happen, X should mark the spot. Does it make an X floating out in the middle of nowhere? So again, how I did that. The original thing I did was draw my arc. I picked up the compass without even changing it, put it on one of these points of intersection, and drew my little X floating out in the middle of nowhere. Does anyone need help? Usually they'll probably be the only one that's really struggling, because it's almost impossible, because you're going to be really far away, I think. So yeah, so boom, boom. Further crossing, oh my gosh, it looks terrible. Sorry, I butchered that. Alright, now that you know where your dot's at, where that little X crossed, you're going to draw a line that goes from F out to there. It keeps going like a new ray. F out to X marks the spot. The vertex out to there. Boom. If you did this correctly, these angles should be exactly 27. You should be able to go check it. You'll put your protractor down, measure one of them. I'm going to measure my bottom one. Mine 27 on the dot. And some of yours were smaller, 18. So there's a, what, 4 1/4? It's small, it's tiny. 27 and a half. So, and go measure it. It does work. You actually can learn how to cut angles. Now, why this is important? We can do this construction you just learned on any type of angle. You can cut any angle in half. Well, what was the angle we learned how to draw earlier? 90? We can now cut it in half, and now you have 45. You can cut that in half, now you have 22 and a half. You can cut that in half, and you have 11 1/4. Like, you can keep going. You can make really weird angles by cutting things in half because you know how to draw certain angles. Okay? All right. You need to take your compass, straight edge, put them back in the little baggie. This little piece of paper, don't lose it. You are going to turn that in tomorrow. So, this little piece of paper, we're almost done with class today. So, take your compass, straight edge, put them back in the bag. I'm going to walk around and collect the piece of paper with your name on it. We will be turning that in tomorrow for credit. Textbooks tomorrow. We are going to have homework tomorrow. We are going to have homework right out of the book. But there's a couple more constructions I want to do. There's some fun ones. Although there's a little more drawing. We might just start with drawing right away. Might not go into notes right away. Okay. I'm hand these up. I'm just going to cut the straight edges. Keep your protractors. Don't lose them. You need them for the first assignment. You're going to have to measure stuff. So there's a couple more vocab words we're going to add in tomorrow.
Oh, they wrote that. So it was like gravel, it was all loose. Nobody.